Confucius was born Kong Qiu on September 28, 551 BC in modern-day Shandong province to Kong Qiu, who was an elder commandant of the local Lu garrison, and his wife Zhengzai. The name Confucius is a Latin form of the Mandarin Chinese Kong Fuzi, which means Master Kong. Kong Qiu, Confucius' father, died when Confucius was just 3 years old, leaving him to be raised solely by his mother. He received his education at schools for commoners where he studied the 6 arts. When he attained the age of 19, he got married to Qiguan, and the next year they had their first child. In later years, they had 2 more daughters. His family was that of the class of Shi, which Confucius was born into. They were the class between the aristocrats and the common people. This gave him a level of respect and earned him various government jobs by the time he was in his 20s. He also worked as a bookkeeper, a caretaker of sheep and horses when his mother died. Confucius was 23, but he was able to use some of his earned money to give her a proper burial. He mourned her for 3 years according to the Lu tradition. There were basically 3 families that ruled Lu, which was the Ji family, the Meng family, and the Shu family, with divided roles amongst them. However, the ducal house headed it all. But in 505 BC, Yang Hu, a retainer for the Ji family, rebelled against the Ji family and seized their power. However, the 3 ruling families expelled Yang Hu from Lu after a battle. At this time, Confucius had earned for himself a reputation through his teachings that by 501 BC, after Yang Hu was expelled, Confucius was appointed as a minor position of governor of a town and later rose to the position of minister of crime. Confucius, however, saw this as an opportunity to disembark the family ruling system and return the authority of the state to the duke. He proposed that the 3 strongholds and fortified cities of the Ji, Meng, and Shu families be dismantled and a centralized government be established. But Confucius had no military authority, so he solely relied on diplomacy. After a year and a half, Confucius and his disciples, whom he taught, succeeded in convincing the aristocratic families to dismantle their fortified cities. The family heads of the 3 ruling families agreed to the plan, but this was not met well by others who had hopes of ruling Lu through their family lineages. Confucius refused that violent revolution be used. Nevertheless, there was a revolt by Gongshan against the city as he tried to oust the duke, but Zhengzai was able to secure the duke and 3 viscounts at the court. As the revolt heightened and threatened the lives of people of Lu, Confucius ordered 2 officers to lead an assault against the rebels who opposed the idea of one central government. Confucius and his men defeated the revolt, and after, the Ji family, which dominated the Lu state for generations and had also exiled their previous duke, immediately razed the city walls of Bai to the ground. The Shu family also brought down the walls of Hu. Still, the Meng family did not want to see their walls fall. They sought ways to have the idea discarded, but eventually brought down their walls of Cheng. After he attempted to dismantle the powers and fortify city walls of Meng, Ji, and Shu failed, Confucius departed from the state of Lu in 497 BC without resigning. He self-exiled himself and never returned during the reign of Qiguan. Confucius had a political thought that argued that the best government was one that rules through the natural morality of people and not upon using bribery and coercion. He believed if the people be led by laws and uniformity sought to be given them by punishment, they would try to avoid the punishment but have no sense of shame. If they be led by virtue and uniformity sought to be given them by the rules of propriety, they will have the sense of the shame and moreover will become good. He urged those who were influential in China's politics to model themselves of what used to be in the ancient times of chaos, feudal wars, and endless divisions to instead unify the world and bring peace and prosperity to the people. He was often seen as a great proponent of conservatism due to his vision of personal and social perfections that framed the revival of the society. But in reality, Confucius used past rights and institutions to push for a unified royal state that rulers would be based on moral merit rather than on their lineage, which many saw as a new political agenda of his own. Confucius did not believe in democracy, which was not a practice in ancient China. Instead, he believed that anyone was capable of self-governing, rather than electing political leaders that would govern them. This view of his was coined from his fear that the masses did not have the intellect to make their own decisions, since everyone was created equal, thereby everyone had the right to self-government. After staying in self-exile for several years, Confucius returned to his native home, Lu, at the age of 68 at the invite of Ji Kangzi and then the then chief minister of Lu. He returned to his teachings and was said to have about 72 to 77 disciples that he transmitted old wisdom into. He taught them a set of texts that he called 5 classics and acted as an advisor on matters of governance and crime to several government officials in the Lu, including Ji Kangzi. He began his teachings at the age of 30. He had over 30,000 students in the course of his life. 70 of those students were considered outstanding, who were among the disciples and early Confucian community that became the most influential intellectual force in the Warring States period. As a teacher, Confucius never changed the tuition fee for his disciples and those who learned under him. Upon enrollment, he only requested a symbolic gift of a bundle of dried meat given by a prospective student. He also related to his students in the manner doctors treated patients and never turned anyone away. Confucius was broken by the death of his son and that of his favorite disciples. At the age of 71 or 72, he died naturally and was buried in Konglin Cemetery at the historic park of Qufu in the province of Shandong. The original place of his tombstone, erected there in his memory, was in the shape of an axe. It also has a raised brick platform at the front for offering of incensed fruits and sandalwood. Soon after the death of Confucius, his hometown became a devotional and remembrance place. It became a place of privilege for ministers and is still a major tourist site. Confucius's philosophy and teachings, also called Confucianism, were later turned into an elaborate set of rules and practices by his disciples, who turned Confucius' teachings into the Analects. There is no contemporary sculpture or paintings of Confucius. He was only portrayed visually during the Han Dynasty, although there were carvings of his legendary meetings with Laozi. Confucius's portraits used to be hung at his temple in former cities until the Hongwu Emperor of the Ming Dynasty decided that only the Confucius temple in his hometown, Qufu in Shandong, should have his portrait, while other temples should represent him with a memorial tablet. Confucius is depicted as a teacher of harmony, learning, and virtue at the courtroom of the Supreme Court of the United States on its south wall frieze. He is worshipped as a holy king and master of magic, astrology, and divination among the Tibetans. Among the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, he is believed to be a divine prophet of God. Confucius was honored with the naming of asteroid 7853 Confucius and is widely believed to be one of the most influential and important people in human history. His teachings and philosophy impacted several generations of people across the world. Confucius still remains influential today. Thank you very much for watching our videos. We appreciate it if you subscribe to our channel and share this video with your friends. We love you.